No one talks about the heartache surrounding your finances when you file for divorce. So here's the thing, whether you had a joint account or you were the breadwinner, the reality is that after divorce, your finances will change. And sometimes they change drastically. So, what I want to talk about today are the 5 bounce back financial moves that you need to make sure that your money is not funny and it's in order. So, let's get right into it.
I spent most of my life pouring into women, building mentoring and leadership programs for girls who needed someone to believe in them, writing books for women to remind them of who they are, creating rooms where women in need could feel seen and cared for, building a space where wives could breathe and just be. Serving women has always been a part of who I am. And then life got rough, and I mean really rough. The last few years were filled with divorce, becoming a single mom, moving across the country, ending a career, losing friends, being misunderstood, and a lot of other things. I felt so alone sometimes. But here's what I learned in the middle of all of it: God doesn't leave you, your purpose doesn't leave you, and the women who need you, they don't go anywhere either. So I kept going. I'm Kim Allen, a wife, a mother, an author, a speaker, and a plethora of other things, but most importantly, I'm a woman who's still on the journey. And this channel, this is where we get honest about rebuilding, about our faith, and about what it actually looks like to bounce back when everything in you wants to stay down. I've been gone for a minute, and let me tell you, a lot of good things have happened. But sis, I'm back, and I brought everything I've learned with me. Welcome to And Then She Bounced Back. Subscribe, because we're just getting started.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the 5 bounce back financial moves that you should make after divorce, or even if you're just starting over financially. And so I have a little experience in both. I have started over in my finances quite a few times, but I do remember vividly what it was like to bounce back in my finances after divorce. And so, just a little bit of context without giving you all of my business. When I was married, I was the breadwinner. And so, basically, I was the one kind of making more of the money, but also managing the money and the household, the bills, the finances, and all that jazz. Okay. Stressed, but that's neither here nor there. And what was happening was that I wasn't the best in my finances to begin with, and then to add the stress of just like managing the day to day by myself, it was really a lot. And so I actually started off the marriage paying off payday loans for the wedding. And so it already started off with a rocky foundation, financial foundation. And so when I got out of the marriage, and I moved to St. Louis, and I realized, hey, like, I really need to get my life together. I want to buy a home one day. Like, what do I need to do? I started really taking a look at my finances, and these 5 steps are the 5 steps that I took. I do want to say that I am not a financial expert, that you do need to connect with a financial expert. I am certified as a financial coach, but I am not in any way telling you like this is what you need to do to like double up on your money, because I do understand that I also have extreme favor with the Lord. And so there are things that I've just been genuinely blessed with. But nevertheless, these are 5 things that I for sure did to get me back on track when it came to my finances. And so I want to jump into the first one. Right after I filed for divorce, I started looking at my money. I started looking at where I was with my money. And actually, it was probably before I filed, because I actually moved out almost a year before I filed. And so when I started looking at my finances for real, is when I was making the decision to move out on my own. And if you know anything about trying to move out on your own, you need pay stubs, you need your bank statements, you need a lot of information to get your own apartment. So I started really looking at my finances and being like, okay, where do I stand financially? The apartment needs 3 times the rent. Like, what am I making? I started really like asking myself these questions. And so I was pulling bank statements for the last 3 months. Like, I was really deep diving into my finances. I was checking my credit score, which I'm gonna jump into, because I knew that in order for me to actually like move into this apartment and bounce back and build the life I wanted, I needed to know where my money was and what I was spending it on. And so the first step I want to be able to share with you guys is to know exactly where you stand financially. I told you guys before that when I was in the marriage, I was the breadwinner, but the reality is that your money changes drastically whether you were the breadwinner or not the breadwinner when you get a divorce. Like, it's you have either more responsibilities, less responsibilities, like it changes. And so it's super important that you take the time to know exactly where your money is. I want you to literally pull up your bank statements for the last 3 months. I want you to see what you're spending your money on. I want you to know how much your bills are. I want you to know how much you need to make in order to move into your own place. Like, these are real questions that you need to ask yourself, and you need to know where your money is, where it's coming from. Are you getting alimony? Are you paying alimony? Like, there's so many things that you need to know, and the reality is that it's going to take time, but you have to sit down and know exactly where you stand financially. I had to ask myself that question: can I afford this apartment by myself with bills and childcare expenses? Like, I had to know where I stood financially once I left that marriage. The second thing I want to encourage you guys to do is to separate your money now. And I mean that in two things. If you have a joint bank account, or you've had a joint bank account, get your money out. I don't know how you guys need to do that. That may be something that legally they tell you to divide it 50-50. That's whatever your legal people tell you to do. But if you have not already separated your money, separate it immediately. But I also, when I say separate your money, I mean to literally separate your money. So one of the things that helped me get on track financially was to create separate accounts. When I had one big checking account, let me tell you, baby, that direct deposit hit, I had money, I spent money. Period. It was easy. I get the money, I spend the money. And then I'd be like, dang, did I pay that bill yet? I didn't pay that bill yet. Dang, I got more month than money left. Like, my money was just all over the place when I had it in one account. Once I started separating my money and assigning certain percentages of my money to certain accounts, and then having certain accounts take care of certain things, I started to be able to see what my money was doing. I was being able to hold myself more accountable with what I was doing with my money. It was probably one of the best financial decisions I could have made, and it was actually one of the easiest. So what I did was I took the bank that I already had and the checkings account that I already had, and I opened a savings account with that same bank, right? This is, again, just what I've done. So I opened a savings account with the bank that I still had a checkings account from, and then I went to another bank and I opened a checkings and a savings with that bank. Now, you guys may be like, that sounds like a bit much. Like, listen, do you? I'm telling you what worked for me. What I did was, once those accounts were created, I went to my payroll department at work and I started to separate my money based off of percentages. So I get direct deposit. So I went to the payroll department and said, hey, I want 10% of what I make to automatically go into this savings account. I want another 10% to go over to this savings account. And then I want to split the remaining balances into these two checking accounts. And what that did for me was, one of the savings accounts was just my regular savings, right? I pay myself the 10% first. The next savings account that had the 10% was building up my emergency fund at the time. My goal was to save $500 for the first time. So I had that money just automatically deducted and going into that account. Now, I do know now that I'm studying more about finances that there are better savings account that is like high yield savings. You can get higher interest rates, all the things, but we are talking about the basics, okay? And so the basics for me was getting a savings account. And so I got two of those. I had the money automatically transferred. And then with the one of the checking accounts, I paid all my bills. So as many bills as I could put on auto pay, I did, and I had them come straight out of that account. The other checking account I used for all of like my fun stuff and just extracurricular stuff. So if I wanted to get my hair done, if I needed to buy something for the kiddos that was just extra, that came out of that money. I don't want to say fast food, but like spending money on food and DoorDash, like that was all that account. And the reason why I was separated was because I wasn't being responsible with my money. When I got it, I spent it, and then I was looking at my bills like, ooh, who gonna pay that? And so by separating it, I knew that this is how much I have to spend that was quote unquote extra, right? Now, as I moved on and learned more about finances, I started to do a little bit more, and I'll jump into that in another episode. But I really, just breaking up my finances, those 4 ways alone helped me so much. So separate your money now. Get it out of the joint account if you have it. And then if you don't have a joint account, I want you to start separating your money into different accounts, okay? The third thing I want you to know, I want you to know your credit. Know your credit, know your credit score, your credit limit. I want you to protect your credit as if it's your life, because baby, it is. Your credit will tell you what you can get and what you cannot get. It will tell you what you can afford and what you cannot afford, okay? When I walked away from my previous marriage, my credit was in the low 500s. Like, what was you doing? like what were you doing that your credit was in the low 500s? But never, judge yourself. It was in the low 500s. And so I took my power back. I pulled all 3 of my credit reports for free. I later got a paid service where I pay monthly, because I also needed to protect my credit due to credit identity theft. But I pulled all 3 of my credit scores. Now, I will say, when you pull up these free credit reports, it's not always as accurate as it should be, okay? So your credit score will be a few points off when you pull them from these free credit reports. So there were times when I thought I had one credit report, and then somebody else will pull it and it'd be like 10 points lower. And I'm like, dang! So that's just the reality of it, is that it will be a little different when you pull the free reports versus like someone actually pulling your line of credit. But nevertheless, by pulling your 3 credit reports, you will be able to gauge like where you are, right? And so you'll have like your Equifax, your FICA 8, and then I'm missing one, and I'm not sure why I'm drawing a blank, but it's 3 of them, okay? And you can pull them all for free. There's several different websites you can pull from. I use Experian. I've used Credit Karma before. There's all kind of ones that you can pull. But it's so important that you check your score. Know what your number is. Even if it's low, even if it's embarrassing, even if you're like, I have no idea where I'm going to start, even if your report has 1 billion collections on it, it's so important that you stop running away from the reality of where you are with your credit and tackle it, versus living in like this dark cloud of like never knowing. And so I want you to pull your credit report and really study it. If you need someone to help you with that, there's people who can literally help you go through your credit report and even help you get your credit up. Now, I've never used a service like that. I have just kind of figured it out a little bit. So I do not offer that service, and I won't offer that service, but there are people that will offer that service to go through your credit report and really help you process it and then get back on track. But nevertheless, even if you just pull it and know your score, know who you owe, know how many collections you have, know what's derogatory. Like if you can really sit down and see all this, you can start creating some sort of plan to get your score up if it's not up. Now, if your credit score is already up, great, keep it that way, okay? If you have a credit card and you've been paying it off, good, keep doing that. If your credit is great because you're like, Kim, I wasn't the financial person responsible, I have no idea what you're even talking about, great. You are starting at ground zero. Open a credit card with a small credit limit, buy yourself some gas, pay that thing back off, and do it again the next month so you can build your credit up. But the important thing is that you begin to create a plan, whether it's creating a plan on your own or you're coming together with a credit repair person or somebody who can help, a financial advisor or a financial coach that can help you really go through your credit and give you a solid plan. But I want you to know what your score is. You should be able to know your score at any given point. Maybe not all 3, but at least one of them, okay? The 4th thing I want you to do, and it's super, super important, and it took me a while to get this, and I feel very ashamed about it, but it is what it is. The 4th thing I want you to do is I want you to get life insurance. If you do not already have life insurance, get it. No, this is not me selling you life insurance. This is me telling you, as a person that was married, a person that has children, a person that has people depending on them, get life insurance. I was paying all of maybe $74 with one company. Now, because I upped it a little bit, I pay like $102 a month for it, but it covers all of my children. If anything was to happen to me, I don't have to worry about leaving my babies financially without. I don't have to worry about my family trying to figure out how to like take care of my children and me, like bury me, whatever that looks like. So if you can, I want you to get a quote for life insurance and then make the purchase. I started realizing that I spend more money eating out a month than I was paying on life insurance. And not only that, but I had my car insured, I had my phone insured, and I did not have my life insured. And I'm like, what are you doing? And so the fourth and very important step that I want you to do is to get life insurance for you and your babies if you have them. If you already got insurance, you're already ahead of the game. The last thing I want you to do, I told you I was going to be on this really quick. The last thing I want you to do is create a new budget, which means that I want you to paint your money picture. Now, there's a company called Thrivent, and through that company, I always shout them out as much as I can. Through that company, they gave me a financial coach. That's actually what inspired me to become a financial coach. Was my financial coach sat with me weekly and literally walked through my finances and gave me a solid plan on what it would look like to pay down debt, reach my savings goal. Like, she mapped my life out so much. She literally is called painted the picture from where my money was, that it gave me such relief. I had a dark cloud concerning money over my life for years. For years, I avoided the talk of money because it caused arguments in my marriage. I avoided looking at my bank accounts because I felt like I never had enough. There was always this dark cloud around my finances. And that financial coach changed everything for me. And not even, because I'm not like, y'all, I got a lot of kids, so they all playing. Not even to like plug them, but to plug them. All the services was free. And I sat with them for probably, I want to say, it had to be anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. But it changed everything for me. It changed everything about my finances. It encouraged me to become a financial coach. It was so much. But it helped me paint the picture. And what I mean by painting the picture is you're going to start creating a new budget. So I've already told you the different bank accounts that I think you should open and what I think you should do with each of those bank accounts. But now you're going to actually create the budget. And the budget is going to tell you how much money is coming in. So whether you work or you receive child support, whatever money you're receiving, you're going to make sure it's on that budget as the money that's coming in. And then you're going to look at all of the money coming out. So every bill you have to pay, every subscription you have to pay, the gas, medical bills, health insurance, life insurance, children's tuition, car notes. Baby, it's a lot of bills, a lot. But I want you to put it all in the budget. So now in the budget, you have the money that's coming in and you also have what's coming out, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to start setting goals. Like, how much debt do you already have? How much ideally do you want to save? How much do you want to pay towards your debt? Like, all that stuff is going to go in your new picture. I have done before with a client before and in my workshops where I have them do like a money mapping. And so the money mapping is after you sort of like paint the picture of where your money is, you do a money mapping where you literally tell your money where to go, right? So it works hand in hand with the budget. And again, I'll share that in a later episode when I go into super detail about your finances and what I've learned so far. But it's really important that you create a new budget based off of what you're making now. If you had a joint account and now you don't, now you need to see, well, how much am I bringing in and how much now are my bills, right? And so I want you to really get a hold on your budget. Can you save 10%? So I told you that I saved 10%. I really saved 20%, but I told you I saved 10% in one and 10% in another, right? But is that realistic for you? What is realistic? Can you save 5%? Like, are you saving $100 every pay period? Are you saving $20 every pay period? Like, I believe that everybody can try to save something. Like, if you are like me and find yourself at Chipotle 2 or 3 days a week, you can definitely save something, okay? Are you creating an emergency fund? So that's also a part of your budget, is your emergency fund. When I first started, all I wanted was to save $500. Once I saved that $500, I kept going. And then before I knew it, my goal was, hey, I want to see what it looks like to have $10,000 in my account just sitting there, right? I reached that goal. Now, baby, I reached it, and then the money went where it needed to go. But the point is, the goal was reached. But it wouldn't have been reached had I not created a budget, had I not set a goal, and had I not seen where my money was going, every dollar of it, right? And so I want you to see, what does an emergency fund look like? What is realistic for your savings account? And then I want you to do something that is the unthinkable. one of my biggest enemies towards savings and handling my money properly were these apps that made it super convenient for me to shop. That's right. The Amazon, the DoorDash, the Walmart apps, the Costco apps, I had Temu on there, but I don't use it. But all these apps that just make it easy to buy in one click. And so when I was seriously working on my finances for 6 months straight, I deleted all of those apps. Like there was no random Amazon purchase at night because I was watching a movie and I saw somebody use a water flosser and was like, ooh, now I want that. So I'm ordering a water flosser. Like I had to really think about my purchases. And then I also did what was called the 24 to 48 hour purchase. I forgot what it's really called, but basically what it is that if I thought that I wanted something, I gave myself 24 hours to think about it before I put it in a cart or bought it. And 9 times out of 10, I realized that one, I didn't need it. I don't really want it that deeply. And if it was a large purchase, I gave myself 48 to 72 hours to really make that decision. And so deleting all those apps, pausing and taking time to think, do I really need this, really was a financial game changer for me. I was able to save so much money because I didn't realize that I was spending hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars on just frivolous spending just because I felt like it. A lot of times, especially during my separation, I was overcompensating. So I felt bad for my kids. So if I saw something cool, they wanted some fun toy, I was buying it. I also was very depleted and didn't know what I was gonna do, because when I first left, the twins were only 4 months. And so the thought sometimes of packing them up in their car seats, 2 car seats, and bringing 2 car seats through the parking lot of an apartment into the car to drive to it was so daunting that I put DoorDash on my phone because it was just easier and more convenient. I put the delivery apps on there, the Instacarts and all that stuff. So I took all that off because what I was once using for survival, I was now using just for convenience. And so I took all those apps off and I was saving hundreds and thousands of dollars just because I wasn't just buying random-ish because I wanted to or because it was convenient. And the other thing I did was canceled subscriptions that I did not need or wasn't using. So all the random stuff that I was spending money on and didn't realize that I was spending on, I canceled all those. And an app that I used, and again, I'm not plugging this app, but I will say that this app helped me so much, is an app called Rocket Money. Rocket Money connects to your bank account and baby, it pulls everything. It tells you how much you spend in every month. If you're on track to going over your budget, where you are, it tells you too much sometimes. And the great part about it is that it allows you to tell it how much you want to pay. And so I pay like $6 a month for it because I was on a budget. But I use that app because it pulled from my bank account, it pulled all of the subscriptions that I was paying for. And I was like, I'm paying for what? And I was able to go through and cancel subscriptions that I forgot I was even paying for. I was paying for random stuff, y'all. I got Amazon Prime, but I'm paying for 4 other channels within. I'm paying for Discovery and BET Plus and Kids Plus and all this other stuff in addition to the Amazon Prime. So it shows you everything. I was able to delete the subscriptions or cancel the subscriptions and save me a few $100s. And so I want to encourage you to also do that as well. All right. I gave you all the steps that I use to bounce back financially. Not all of them, but the first 5 to bounce back financially. I really hope that you can take at least one of these steps and do it this week. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. Bouncing back financially is not easy. It has been nothing but the Lord's grace and provision, because when I moved out here, I literally moved out here with nothing. I moved out here with the clothes that I had on my back and a car filled with babies and a few clothes that we were able to pack. I had no money, and I'm not being dramatic, y'all. I had no money because I literally used all the money that I had saved to drive us across the country, to pay for gas, to pay for the hotels, to pay for food. And then when I got here, I needed to make sure that the kids were stable. I used every dollar I had. So I didn't have no money. I had to start from scratch when I got here to St. Louis. And the Lord has blessed me with the ability to my dad has helped me tremendously. And now I've been able to transition this home to my name completely, because my financial situation has drastically changed. Now I got a lot of kids, so blessings. But nevertheless, I have learned so much, and I wanted to share that with you guys because I know that when you go through divorce, it's scary. And dealing with your finances is just one more thing that you got to deal with. And so I wanted to be able to help you guys as much as I could. So I hope those 5 things helped you. I hope that you do those 5 things. If you haven't already, I want you to follow me on or subscribe, whatever they say on here. And then as always, I always share the resources that I created for you. And so you know that I've talked in a few videos about journaling and how important it was for me doing my bounce back journey. So if you need a new journal, I have a hard copy journal, and then she bounced back. It is available on Amazon. It is a beautiful, my favorite color, pink journal. It has all blank pages, so you can write all of your feelings and emotions and things. But remember what I said about the journal. The point is to be able to go back and see what the Lord has done. So where you are right now is going to be drastically different in a year. And how beautiful will it be to be able to go back and see what the Lord has done and how much he's blessed you. The other thing is, if you have recently filed for divorce, or you're getting ready to file for divorce, you're thinking about going through divorce, or you are in the middle of divorce, I do not want you to walk through that process alone. It is very lonely. It feels very isolating. And sometimes even when you have the best of friends, it's still extremely hard. And so I wrote a interactive journal to be able to jot down your thoughts, to be able to walk through and process certain things. And so this interactive journal walks you through one whole year of literally bouncing back after divorce. We go through everything, every pillar, which is like our financial pillar that we talked about, our emotional pillar, our faith foundation, our physical bodies, and our mental spaces. So I go through, those are the 5 pillars of And Then She Bounced Back. But I go through each of those in this journal, and I ask you specific questions. It has a moment for you to check in with yourself. And so, and the other cool thing about this is that when you purchase the journal, there's a QR code that will allow you to basically walk through this video series that I created for you, because I didn't want you to just, oh, there it is. So you scan this QR code, and then it takes you straight to the YouTube page, and then you can walk through the journey. At least half the journey, I believe. I think it's like 32 videos that I actually walk with you through. So those are the 2 resources. I love y'all to pieces. I hope you got something out of this. And remember, take one financial step today to bouncing back financially. And I want you to write, or type, I should say, what one step you're going to do today to get your finances back in order. All right, y'all. See you later.